What we have here is a 2002 Chrysler Sebring convertible, and here's the problem that I had. When I bought the car, I got two keys, this one and this one, and both keys work in the doors and they work in the ignition. And the interesting problem that I had was when I would put them in the ignition. This is the one that I have that's individual, and they're both gray. They have gray handles on them, and from what I understand, this is important. So I put the individual, the one in the ignition, push the clutch, turn it on, starts, runs, all is good. And that's the key that I was usually using. One day I was leaving, heading off to work, and because I was going to a different location, I didn't need my office key, so I grabbed the other key because it didn't have certain things on it, and I thought it would be just easier. Stuck it in the ignition, turned it, and this is what happens. It runs for a few seconds and then dies out. Try it again. Starts up, runs for a few seconds, and dies out. And I guess I'm not getting the odometer. Let me do it this way. Or not the odometer, but the tachometer. So that's the one key. And then what happened eventually, after doing that several times, was the car wouldn't even turn over at all. It would just, everything would light up, but it wouldn't keep running. So here's the first key that I used, and there it is, running at about 1,000 RPMs. So what I found out was, so I did a lot of searching trying to figure out what's the problem, and I didn't realize that I was using a different key. So I thought maybe I have a bad starter, maybe there's a bad relay, maybe there's a bad fuse. So I checked the fuse, which I think is the number 8 fuse in the fuse box. That was fine. I took the starter relay and I swapped that with another one, and that didn't change anything. It just wouldn't turn over at that point. So I was getting really frustrated, spent hours looking for videos on YouTube, couldn't find anything to diagnose my problem. So I was getting ready to start really troubleshooting it using the amp meter and such to see what I could figure out. And so I had the car in my garage, and my son needed to move it because he was going to work on his car. So I went in the house and grabbed a key, not even thinking, just grabbed one key off the key rack, went out to the car and started it up, and it ran. And then it clicked with me. Inside this key, there is a little chip. And there is somehow that communicates with the engine through the ignition switch and the ignition cylinder. And the one key, apparently the chip is good, so the car will keep running. And I've driven it several times since I figured out what the problem was. And the car runs fine. I've never been stranded anywhere. And as you saw, when I put that other key in, it doesn't run. It doesn't matter if I have the key with the good chip in the car, it actually has to be in the ignition cylinder, is the best I can figure out. So I don't know if other people have had this problem. I don't know if this is something that's common to Chryslers in general, or just what the deal is, but I'm posting this because maybe somebody out there is searching for a Chrysler Sebring with a no crank, no start issue, and if you do, check to see if you have another key that might work. I got this car pretty inexpensive from a neighbor, and there's stuff that I need to do with it, but I was getting so frustrated thinking I was going to have to buy a new starter, or maybe there was a short somewhere in the line. So that was a really cheap, in fact, zero cost fix, and that was a big relief to me. So hope this helps somebody. Bye.